Shall we? Ready?
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, good morning, and perhaps good evening for some people. Wherever you have logged in from, thanks for logging in. A very busy 1 hour, so I'll be very fast in front of you. My credentials, the name is Daman. Once again, thanks for logging in. I attempt to keep it interactive also. So when I launch polls, request your participation, please, active participation. The topic we have kept today is operational risk management. The first poll coming in front of you. Risk management and operational risk management both are same, just two different names. That's the question for you. Can you answer the polls on your screen, please? Three options: yes, no, and do not know. About 65% people have voted so far. I request others also to go ahead, please, quickly. Stopping now. About 82% responses so far. I hope you can see the responses yourself. 21% people saying yes to this. Risk management and operational risk management are same, while a large number, 69%, saying no, and 10% saying do not know as well. Right. So we look at definition. If we attempt to look at the definition, a continual cyclic process, first three words itself telling us that this is not one-time activity, it needs to be continued forever, which includes risk assessment, risk decision making, and implementation risk control. So basically the same simple concept: identify, evaluate, and mitigate, which results in acceptance, mitigation, or avoidance of risk. Another definition we can look at: ORM, operational risk management, is the oversight of operational risk, including the risk of loss resulting from inadequate or failed internal processes and systems, human factors, or external events. So once again, if you look at this, what we feel is that whatever we had been doing otherwise, all types of risks need to be considered, need to be managed. Name may be different: operational risk management. Unlike other types of risks, which may be market risk or credit risk, operational risk became the focus area of the top management relatively late. So this is relatively new term. May still be 10, 15, 20 years old, but otherwise risk management may be hundreds of years old, or maybe the day human beings were born, that day we started doing or managing risks. And the definition coming from Wikipedia. The regulator for the banks, for the financial sector in India is RBI, Reserve Bank of India. They also have picked up this definition, which is very clear that it's the global definition from Basel Committee. So those who are from the financial sector background, they may understand this easily. Basel Committee. Operational risk has been defined on banking supervision, Basel Committee on banking supervision, as the risk of loss resulting from inadequate or failed internal processes. So similar as we saw on the earlier slide, people and systems, or from external events. This definition includes legal risk but excludes strategic and reputational risk. This may be specific from the Basel Committee for Banking Sector. Some of you may know this, some may not. There is a standard, global international standard, ISO standard 31000. The current version is 2018 about risk management itself. And quickly, this picture defines the full story of the standard. We are not spending time on this standard. I'll move quickly. Most of us, those who have been doing risk management already, would be familiar from the third circle that we see here. Full story: identification, evaluation, and mitigation. Plus, this is not one-time activity, it has to be continued forever. There will be some monitoring, reporting, there will be some communication portion, and there will be continual improvement as well. If you do other two circles also, that's when we will start saying risk management system. And that's what my experience is as an auditor. I'm an auditor also. I go across countries and companies. Some places, even today, even in the large organizations, this department or function may be missing. Risk management department or function may be missing. That's surprising to me. Or even if there is, maybe they are doing risk management, they have not established the risk management system as such so far. When we talk of system, there would be a policy also, there will be training, there will be champions. We will have to look at continual improvement as well. Then only we'll start claiming that we have a system in place. Fall 2 coming up in front of you. Look at these two pictures and then answer which one looks like a risk register to you. And after your responses, I'll share with you the reason I have put this here. Why is this question being asked? Out of picture A and B, which one looks like a risk register to you? About 50% people so far. Interestingly, large number saying B, 95% saying B is a risk register. Waiting for a few more seconds. Okay. And your responses are like this. About 9%, very small number, saying A looks like a risk register, but large number, which is correctly also, they are saying B seems to be a risk register. The reason I asked, this is a true story, my experience with one of the organizations. One of the starting points in my BCM consulting would be, do you have an existing risk register? In most of the organizations, risk management would be an existing old activity process or department. BCM may be new. So my starting point is, do you have an existing risk register? One of the clients shared an Excel sheet which would look like A. Date, time, what happened, who did what, and I was surprised. As I said, I was surprised. You may not be surprised. Even today, even in some large organizations, you may find the department or function missing as of now. That's a fact. I found an organization that they had, what they shared with me was A, which seems to be an incident log to me rather than the risk register. So this became a challenge for me as a consultant. Politely, I was speechless for a few seconds, minutes, I thought, and then said, it seems to be a reactive approach. Good practice is be proactive. So in your good time, think of all the bad that could happen to you and plan for that. And I suggested something like B, which most of us are saying looks like a risk register. Thank you very much. So I'm sharing quickly some of my experiences as an auditor, having gone across countries and companies. When we think of risk management, risk assessment, one term that comes to mind is risk appetite. And my experience is that generally everyone knows risk appetite, but no one knows risk appetite. What I mean to say is that when I ask this question, people start telling me the definition. I'm not asking definition. I'm asking, what is your risk appetite? Do you know what is your risk appetite? And that becomes a challenge that many organizations do not know this yet. Some improvements would happen. Yes, we know it's known, but it's known to few people. It's not published. When I say published, I don't mean to say publish your risk appetite to the whole world, but to the relevant interested parties, at least internally. That remains to be a gap. Some more improvement happened. It is known and it's published, but it's not used. So why have you calculated your risk appetite if you are not using? Or it is too old? Bigger challenge. You show me the risk register, you show me the risk appetite value, but my next question is, so how have you done this? That process may be missing. The process about risk management itself, process about finding, establishing your risk appetite as well. Well, more. You're able to find this register, this process, but when you look, means I as auditor, I look into your risk management process and the output of that process, which is the risk registers, these both do not match. That remains a big gap. My suggestion would be to make it process dependent rather than person dependent, and rather than being a practice. Yes, we do it, but also knowing how do you do it. There has to be a documented process according to me. And my way of saying what is documented process, nothing which is here. As an auditor, this doesn't exist for me. I need to see the evidence. So we call it documented process, which means written, reviewed, approved, published. So far, so good. Many organizations would pass up to this point. But then using also. If you have created a process, use it. When you use a process, it should give you some output. So that output published to the relevant interested parties. Once that value is used, the output that needs to be used also. So I say output used. Over a period, this output needs to be reviewed and refined if required. And over a period, even this process that you started with, this process needs to be reviewed and refined if required. Quickly, some examples of operational risk management. You see, long list. I've shown you the source also where I have picked this up from: cyber attack, human error, regulations, outsourcing, talent retention, digital disruption, IT implementation, data analytics, cyber fraud, organizational change, existing work processes. Some of these may relate easily to us as risks or with risk management process. Some we may find are a bit new or different. Maybe some debates required. More sources to list how the top 10 operational risks have changed, shifted from 2017 to 2018. Some of these you may find are appearing in both, even if this order is changing. Regulation number 2 becomes number 3. IT failure, well, low in the list in 2017, but that became top in 2018. Starting with some examples, and as I was saying, I will be listing some examples, cases, experiences, etc. A life insurance company has Raman, a data entry operator. This is first example of operational risk. While creating a new application record, he entered applicants' per month salary as 1,000,000 instead of 100,000. In the form, it was written as 100,000, but he typed in as 1,000. Just one zero. What is the impact? A combination of sum assured and monthly salary should have resulted in the rejection of the proposal, but the policy got issued in error. This is one example of operational risk. Second example, it seems it's a passbook manually maintained. There is some description. You see debit entries and you see credit entries. Perhaps from my own pocket, from my own book, handwritten entries, and I should have a saving of 120,000 at the end of the month based on the entries that I have made. But I received the message from the bank that the amount in my account was only 100,000. So a gap of 20,000. This is human error and this is an operational risk. After tallying all expenses and income, I realized that I had missed out a donation of 20,000 that I make to some charity organization every year in this month. For example of operational risk, information technology, a critical network device experiences an error that results in a 4-hour outage for the website of an online retailer. The revenue is lost and customer satisfaction declines for the month. Question here is to you all, how important is your website to you today? Generally, I will believe for all organizations, the website is very important, even if you don't sell online directly, but it is linked with your reputation immediately. Could be a big challenge. What all have you put on your website? Some organizations would be putting very minimum basic information, simple website. Some organizations would have a lot of information about them on the website, even if they are not selling, I'm saying. So it could be a big challenge. Risk, operational risk example. Fourth example I'm sharing is about 32 years old story, working on mainframes. This is my own story once again. I used to work on mainframes at that time. There were no laptops and desktops. We used to work on consoles. One night, and I do work in night shifts also. Sitting on the console, I dozed off, simple, and deleted huge amount of data. Human error, once again, this is operational risk. We could restore from the backups. But there have been cases in the world where this tape backup or disk backup couldn't work very well and would result into a huge disruption, including money also. For some of the banks in UK, there have been millions of pounds of expenses in fixing the data deleted by mistake, by human error. So for the information of everyone, we have touched century today. Thank you very much. We feel encouraged to bring more to you. Next example, April 2008, HSBC says a computer risk containing the confidential personal details of around 370,000 UK life insurance customers had gone missing. The risk was lost at the beginning of February, and it is thought to have gone missing after being sent by external courier. So at that time, the data used to flow on disks, right? And it got missing in transit. And the impact was HSBC lost reputation. Financial losses are not known. And this is an example of operational risk, according to me. Next example, RBS chairman Sir Philip Hampton said the problem revealed unacceptable weakness in our systems. What happened? Similar case, 2012, data loss at RBS. And initially, it was said to be some Indian company, software company, because RBS had been outsourcing to India. But later on, the chairman admitted the mistake. And the loss was reputation. Along with that, 56 million pounds. Next example, Hassan is one of your employees. Think of your organization now. Working from home during COVID-19 pandemic, I believe this is close to heart now. He gets attracted by someone to provide some data in lieu of cash payment. I believe this is also an operational risk. And while we all have been saying, many of us, not all, a COVID-19 pandemic equals work from home, or work from home is the new normal. Many companies, even large names in the world, have said their employees will be working from home for as long as required. Some have said forever, perhaps. There are big challenges. Someday we'll talk about that separately. Time permitting, I'll attempt to touch upon that today also. Let me see the time. Next one coming up, during the lockdown, because we were just talking of COVID pandemic, we had lockdown across globe. Were you eagerly looking forward to going back to office? That's the question for you. Call number 3 coming up. I'll request quick response so that we save some time. I've done more than 50 surveys in last 7 months. On this point, one common question, same as you have in front of you. Were you eagerly, or are you, if you're still working from home, are you eagerly looking forward to going back to office? In some cases, it Just 100% to yes. Your response is, I'm just closing the poll. 70% people have participated so far. And 54% saying yes, which is not different from most of the surveys. In some cases, it was 100% also, but generally it was between 45% to 55%, so averaging to 50%. What does this mean? This is a serious point. If 54% people sitting here today are saying they would like to, or they are looking forward to going back to office eagerly, that tells me some story. That means there is some pain at home. That pain may be as simple as the child or wife or spouse. That pain could be infrastructure. That could be some other point. With this, I'm launching fourth question for you, and you can select multiple responses here. When you were working, some perhaps are still working from home. When you were working from home, what were the challenges? What were your pain areas? May I have responses, please? Quickly. That's a bit difficult. You have 10 options and you can select multiple also. I will take a little more time for this one. Only 40% participation so far. Good if you can all participate, respond to this. More responses would mean more meaningful outcome. I'll close in a few seconds. Stopping here, 75% responses have been received. 40% people saying physical infrastructure, 37 saying IT infrastructure, work-life imbalance. People are easily saying work from home. It's a big challenge. 58% saying work-life imbalance. Some simply missing the breakouts in the office, some getting bored. 27% is the number. Information security. Generally, information security, providing infrastructure, IT infrastructure is very easy. A laptop or a desktop and connectivity at the most secured connectivity, you would say. Intrusion into my privacy. If you allow me to work from home, people are saying it's intrusion into my privacy. And family disruptions, or didn't find online meetings effective as the cameras were kept off, including one big name I believe everyone knows. Satya Nadella would say that online meetings will never be as effective as the in-person meeting. And 45% people saying stress or fatigue also. So we need to think about this risk, which COVID-19 pandemic was a risk. We managed it by working from home, but that could have given, or that gave rise to another risk. So this point needs to be considered seriously. I would like to spend some time on this one. I can spend hours on this one slide only, so going to be very fast. I'm saying how deep one can go in managing risk or in operational risk management if you want to keep focus on that term again and again. The risk was about 7-9 months ago. COVID-19 pandemic started. We did some mitigation. Only the governments did, and lockdowns were announced. We manage one risk, and in the past, we would have stopped at this point. Most of us, many of us, many times, if not always. But it gave rise to another risk, that loss of business livelihoods. So companies came into mitigation and work from home started. Very easy, but I'm showing only 6-7 here. Work from home gave rise to another risk or multiple risk. There could be longer list than this one. Physical security and information security arrangements in office and at office. There is at home, there is no match. I believe both the vendor as well as the customer have done some compromises, but no one is willing to admit this. No one is willing to put this on paper. The physical security, information security of office cannot be matched at home. Fatigue, stress, legality. One CEO in Sharjah, Top management was attending my training session, full day training session. At that time, they were at home and I was delivering from home. And after some time, when we reached this point, the CEO said, Daman, I agree with you. Perhaps we have been working from home illegally. A big risk in working from home. Then things happened. The world started opening up, so return to office, which gave rise to a risk. Virus spread due to the proximity of people. How did we manage? Safe separation distance. But that is another risk, or that gave rise to another risk. Reduced manpower in the office. And mitigation is reduced cost effectiveness. We increase our prices. Another risk related with that, quarantine. If you are positive or suspected, suggestion is quarantine, but that itself may have multiples. Virus spread through surfaces. What do we do? Increase sanitation is the mitigation, but that gives rise to another risk, increased cost of doing business. What do we do? Increase cost of your products and services. What does it mean? Impact. The risk is your profits go down. Second one, you see loss of productivity. So what do you do? Increase cost of your products and services once again. But that may result into less sales. So your profits or revenues also may go down. The next one is very critical, very serious one. Increased medical costs. Need to check whether even my insurance, health insurance covers COVID-19 or not. At that time, there was no COVID-19 known. Perhaps it was not covered by many policies. So that needs to be seen. Right? What we're saying is, I'm suggesting is, see, what is the risk, which may not be known to anyone. I'm not sure how many organizations have done this even now. What is your worst case scenario? What is expected the moment I'm suspected or positive? Stay at home for 2 weeks, 15 days, 20 days. And a pandemic, while it has not happened like that so far, but by definition, it means up to 70% people may be sick. 70% of your employee strength into 15 days into average daily salary. Calculate this. What is this amount? It could be thousands or millions for some organizations. Do we have that budget? Have we accounted for it? Who will pay for it? How will we manage this? This is a serious point here. And we need to calculate. The suggestion, good practice is know your worst case scenario or let it be known to the relevant interested parties also, especially your employees. First case coming up, Pawan is working with Alec. He is involved in a financial fraud. You know this, but you do not report or escalate. Question is, why not? And this is an operational risk according to me. Case 2, Madan is working with Alec, the same company. You have seen him behaving inappropriately with a female colleague. You also observed that the female colleague was not comfortable and had attempted opposing Madan. But you do not report or escalate. This is question, why not? And this is an example of operational risk. Well, 5 coming up based on these last two cases. In both last two cases, one was financial fraud, one was sexual harassment. You know it, but you don't report. What is your response? Please respond on your screens now. I'll launch the poll. Number 5. Has Ted joined? Arun? Can I have responses quickly, please? Only 10% people have voted so far. Options, the person is senior to you and you're not comfortable reporting about him or her. Second is the person is a good friend and you may lose if you talk about him or her. Or the person may lose job and you may feel guilty that someone has lost job. Some companies are taking these points very seriously. Financial fraud, sexual harassment means just out of the company. Or some are indifferent, none of my business, or have other tasks to do. I'm stopping the poll and we'll share the results with you all quickly. 33% saying person is senior to you. 8% are saying person is a good friend. So that becomes very low. 38, almost similar, which is the highest number also. The person may lose job and you may feel guilty. 15% saying this is none of my business, indifferent, and 5% also saying that they have some other tasks to do. Thank you very much for your participation. Arun, has that joined? GRC, which stands for Governance, Risk and Compliance, by definition, is an organizational strategy for managing governance, risk management, and compliance with industry and government regulations. This is definition from IBM. And second definition from another organization, both global companies, Capgemini. GRC refers to a capability that helps an organization achieve its objectives with responsibility running right across the organization. So everyone plays a role. Operational risk management and GRC are close. That's what I'm attempting to say. But that's what my view. I would like to know your view. The next poll. Can I have your responses quickly, please? Arun, has that joined?
Yeah, Ted is here.
Great, thank you very much. So for everyone's information, Ted, a colleague, our partner from Kenja in Japan, he has joined from Japan and he'll be speaking to you for some time about Kenja rooms. Stopping the poll now then. And the results here in front of you. 94% saying operational risk is linked to GRC, 4% saying no, and 3% also saying not having opinion or not knowing it. Thank you very much. And then we talk of integrated risk management also. A set of practices and processes supported by a risk-aware culture and enabling technologies that improve decision-making and performance through an integrated view of how well an organization manages its unique set of risks. So organization resilience is the last topic that I quickly want to touch upon. For information, there is a standard called ISO 22316. The current version is 2017. According to that, organizational resilience is defined as ability of an organization to absorb and adapt in a changing environment. Poll 7 coming up. Quickly, please. Sorry. May I request your responses quickly, please? And Ted, my apologies to you. We may be running a bit late, but I request you to take your full time. We'll request the participants to bear with us. 75% roughly have responded. So results here, operational risk management is an integral part of organizational resilience. Operational risk management we started with, and we are reaching organizational resilience. Both are close. 88% saying yes. I go with that. 5% saying no, and 7% in the last category, not knowing. So people say me, so okay, Daman, you have talked a lot about risk or operational risk management. What is the way forward? Quickly, according to me, if you started from risk management long ago, moving to GRC, we did that as well. Some organizations would have touched upon integrated risk management also. The point now, way forward now, according to me, is moving towards organizational resilience. Quickly, then I started developing a course. I have developed 15, 16th. We are running it, the first one. About 20 disciplines in the organization, not 1, 2, 3, 4. Crisis, risk, BCM, we would have understood easily. Emergency management, we would have taught easily. But there are about 20 blocks that I'm saying. These are disciplines that play a role in organizational resilience. Then I started developing a tool also to check the effectiveness of organizational resilience in an organization. And I ended up adding 4 more from my side. So it's a big one. That's what I mean to say, organizational resilience. Way forward this and my definition of a resilient organization. According to me, a risk managing, learning, and continually improving organization is a resilient organization. And this is where I'll request that to come, please. I'll talk to us about how Kenja rooms support organizational risk management. Kenja, once again, from Japan, are our partner to provide these products and services called Kenja rooms.
Thank you, Daman. So, Daman, I'm very interested to hear about your incident 32 years ago. I'm glad that we didn't hire you as our system administrator. But I'm also glad because that's probably how you got into disaster recovery. So one of the things that I guess if I joke about that, I remember one time. I missed my passport only once when I was at Vodafone, an executive at Vodafone. That one time I missed it. I was invited to go on the corporate jet plane with the group CEO. Is the one day I forgot it. So that was my I just learned it. So everyone
human mistake, human error. Yeah.
So thank you everyone. And this should be a very short presentation. Basically, I'm here to share what we do at Kenja and operational risk management. I think that one of the things that we need to think about is a dynamic response is always better than a static response, right? Mm-hmm. And the issue that you have in presentations is that in DR plans is basically, if you think about a documentation, this is actually our Kenja product. Documentation, oh boy, I had it right here. So if you're ever doing a plan, basically the plan today, I got the wrong link. Wouldn't you love it? So basically on a plan, you can think of sorry.
It happens, no challenge.
Yeah, this one, yeah. So if you think of a plan like a template, okay. And
you want to share your screen, Ted?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Your screen yet.
Sure. Oh, okay. Yeah. Is not shared yet. Sorry about that. Okay. It's forcing me to quit off of this to get on to share it. I don't.
It's all part of technology. No challenge.
Yeah, it is. I got a new Mac and
all right. Yeah. That's bigger challenge. Yes.
Yeah. No. And then somehow it didn't transfer over the settings. Everything worked really well until of course you go into the thing. So let me okay, now do you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes.
You see my screen?
Correct.
Okay. Now.
Yeah.
Okay, now I just closed all my tabs. Okay. Okay, so I'm switching over. This is actually our product, and I'm going to show you what it is. And if we have a let's say a non-dynamic plan, this is what we're saying is here's a typical plan for everybody, that you'd have a plan, section 1, section 2, recovery strategies, development plan, testing exercise. This is very typical to have your plan in a PDF, right? But instead of having it like this with your plan in a PDF, what we have here is a plan that actually is dynamic. So you put the plan into a set of rooms. So each room is like a folder, in that you can go to the folder and you have access rights to that folder. So this room has access rights. We can make anybody an editor or a deputy owner or a viewer. And basically what you have here is a way to be dynamic. So one way is, of course, in a Q&A engagement, instead of doing emails that go back and forth, what we can do is we can put the questions right here, and the questions have the answers put right into the same tile. And so it becomes a dynamic way to work. what we can do is we can post comments right here. And the nice thing about this is that everything is recorded into a log, so we can see who did what when into an activity log right here. All the tasks get put into a separate task tab, and we can actually even look at it as a Gantt chart. So basically what you have is you have all your information in one place, whether it's be it tasks, comments, documents, everything is in one thing, one place. And as your plans change, basically it's as easy as just changing something in here. Now, the other thing about this though is that people might say, well, yeah, that's nice, but we have 100 people in our team, and a lot of them are not so involved. It's only the core team of 10 people, and everybody else just wants to see the information. So it's easier to share files, right? Well, on that one, the answer to that is to actually publish this as a room for people. So the way this works is that basically we can choose an appearance of the room. So we can have a secure website that we launch. So we can uncheck and check content that we want. And on security, we can do anything from password protection to login. And basically when I do this, what you'll see is that this will change it into a website. And basically it converts all those files that I was showing you, all that information into a website that you could share with anyone. Let's see, I just realized I probably want to edit this appearance to be, okay, tiles. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to show you, and that's what it looks like. You see, so you have now a plan that your internal team is using this with Gantt charts and everything else. And then you have your external people, the 100 people or so involved with your project, or a few hundred people who are involved in BCP, they can all see something like this. So it's a way to do best of both worlds. So that's it. I think caught up on the time, Daman. So back to you.
Thank you very much, Ted. A question comes to my mind before participants start asking questions. I have a few more slides to share, but first, what comes to my mind is it seems IT failure, one example I had given, that it's human error, made a mistake. That could become big, and that still is valid even today, whatever progress we might have made. So that remains to be a risk. Data failure, data corruption, equipment failure, which may be IT or non-IT, but we'll focus on IT. That is a risk. So how does, and another risk that I see for myself is, if I'm the risk manager in an organization, that this risk management plan or risk register that we create, multiple people have to work on this. This IT related risk, the head would take care of that. But there's people related. When you talk of pandemic, COVID-19 currently across globe, that will be managed by HR. Bomb, blast, fire, earthquake, terrorist attack, spills, etc. HSE comes into picture, facilities come into picture. There's so many interested parties or so many people. So with single document, so many people working on one. That is a big risk to me within risk management. So if you can throw some light on that, how could Kinja Rooms help us in doing that? That'll be a great help.
Yeah. So one thing that's it's actually big news just this week is we have just put on blockchain on our content management system. As far as we know, we are the first company in the world to do blockchain-enabled CMS, content management system. And so the way that would work is that, let's say 32 years ago, I was trying to see who exactly was that went to sleep in that operation center, and I tried to. Devon, you're busy with your system, but I was trying to make the joke of like we have blockchain to show chain of custody, blockchain to show who touched what when. And so basically that blockchain could trace it back to exactly individuals. So that gives you a little bit more accountability on the people side of things. At least you can't be hacked on that, right? So that's one thing that we've added on that. But there's a lot of different use cases on that. I mean, holding people accountable through tasking. That's another way that we can do that.
Okay. So can I make this bold and beautiful statement?
Please do.
I've just captured it from you. Yeah. World's first blockchain into Kinja Room, something like that? Blockchain integration into
blockchain-enabled content management system.
Blockchain-enabled content management system, world's first. Thank you very much. This is a bold and beautiful statement.
Yeah.
People may have some questions also for you, but before we pass on to questions to participants, I'm going to share my slides once again. I hope you can see this again. And the question that comes to mind is, were these discussions useful? If you all would like to respond to this poll, please. Question in front of you. We started with thanks to you. I'm saying thanks in between, and we'll close with thanks once again to participants. Whatever we do, arrange these that joined from Japan. I'm again saying thanks to him as well. Right? Whatever we do, and we are keeping these complimentary as well. There is no charge to participation, but these activities will not be successful without you, all the participants. Few more seconds before I close this one.
Yeah, Daman, I want to say compliments to you for building such a fine community. You know, the community of BCP experts is one of the greatest things is when you can have people help each other out. So thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. The results in front of you, 98% saying yes, it was useful. The discussions were useful. 2% not happy. We request them to write to us what improvements do they want us to make, what improvements would they like to see in these, and we'll be happy to consider those inputs, because it's always continual improvement that we look forward to. Thank you very much. Quick introduction to this course that we were saying. It's called Certified Organizational Resilience Specialist course. 2 days full of exercises. So it's completely hands-on. FQA UK is our certification partner. I, as trainer, internationally experienced more than 7,000 hours of training or teaching experience of being a trainer, consultant, auditor, assessor, executioner, won multiple national and global awards. I'm IEEE ambassador, 35 plus years in all, 16 plus years in resilience domains. I'm a fellow of BCI. I'm a fellow of BCS as well. So this is trainer profile, and quickly the course standard looks like this: ISO 22316. The course is built around this standard on organizational resilience, but it's a paid document, copyrighted document, so we can't share with you, but a read-only complimentary copy ISO has been providing during this COVID-19 pandemic that will be available to you during the course. Key features, depth and coverage. As I'm saying, 2 days fully devoted, 50 exercises. Actually, I'll need your support, the participants' support, to be able to do so many in 2 days. Designed by NETSI Leaders Week Core, 3 times BCI award winners and into BCI Hall of Fame, about 15-16 years of BCM journey for ourselves. We have been trainer, consultants, auditors. We practice what we preach. We are certified to ISO 22301 ourselves for over 8 years or so. Delivered by me, as I'm repeating that, certification from FQA UK. And we did that last Friday. Actually, there was a small, again, complimentary session, review of the course. After the course also, within about a week, you will have another session available to you, complimentary with me, if you would have any questions after the course as well. Exercises quickly, different types of exercises that we have woven around that. They are individual exercises, they are group exercises, which will exploit that breakout rooms facility of Zoom. The platform we are going to be using this time is Zoom, and we'll do this 2 breakout rooms. You will have to be making some presentations. That is another feature. Is a case study, so exercises and discussions based on case study. There'll be debates also. Generally doesn't happen in a course, but we have apt exercises like that, debates also, because there are groups available. And you will have some tools to play with, dirtying your hands. So last question, last poll coming up to you. If you would like to have information about any of this that we have talked about today, again, I request your responses on your screens, please. Would you like to have more information either about this course, organizational resilience course, or Kinja rooms, or other core courses, other courses. We deliver many in the resilience domain, business continuity management, crisis management, risk management, ITDR, information security, cyber security, name few. I'll be happy to provide you information about this. Few more seconds, if you can respond to this, please. If you would like to have more information, we'll be happy to get back to you. Just for your information, the session is live on YouTube and the recording will be available immediately after the session for you to view again, or if you would like to invite others, if you would like to share the link with other friends, colleagues, or family members. So this is how your response is to the last one. 20% asking for organization resilience coach. We'll be happy to do that. Some responses for Kenja Rooms information, we'll provide that. Other courses, 18%, while 52% large number is saying provide all these three informations. We'll be happy to do that. My colleagues will be in touch with you about these. This is where we do have some time, 5-7 minutes. Quickly, if there are any questions, please start typing in and we'll start picking up either for Ted or for me.
We've got two questions, one for Ted and one for you, Naman.
Go with Ted first, please.
Yeah. Ted, the question is, blockchain is a potentially good to manage behavior, but I think it would likely create a culture of blame and avoidance of uncertainty on part of the employee. Well, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a blame culture. There's unfortunately with something like that, you have to have the right culture, company culture in place as well. So you want to make sure you don't put something like that as kind of an instigator for blame, further blame culture type of thinking. But blockchain, like any other thing, is a tool, and it's up to people on how to use the tool. So the tool has to be put within the framework of values and the organization.
Great, thank you very much. Little to add, this is a risk and risk management concept, or if we talk of organizational resilience, the culture of the organization also plays a role there. We will be touching upon that as well in the course. Yes, please.
Your whistleblower system could be one of the risk management tools. What is your opinion, particularly in exposing irregularity committed by fellow colleague or boss?
I like that. Thank you very much. Whoever has asked this question, there used to be a risk, which I posted through those two cases, right? That people wouldn't speak out. How did we manage? We wouldn't understand, most of us, that there is a whistleblower policy. But why did this come into existence? This was to manage a risk. This was a control, mitigation for a risk. Risk was that people wouldn't speak, people wouldn't feel comfortable talking about. I can give another example, live example from my own personal life. The previous organization, once upon a time, we used to have an incident logging tool. So I said, I used to be in the board also, board members, we should look into the tool, what has been happening. And surprisingly, there were 0 logins there. 31, 1 plus 30. 30 were happy with that. I wouldn't be. As I said, if the response was people were eagerly looking forward to going back to office, that means my interpretation is there is some pain at home. Similarly, 0 incident logged in doesn't mean 0 happened. It only means 0 logged in. This is how I will interpret, which means people are not happy, not comfortable, do not have faith in the process. That's a risk. How do we manage it? Whistleblower policy. There is a system, Naman, that without disclosing your name, now you can report any irregularities that you come across, that you see if you want to report. So whether someone loses because of you, that may still happen. But at least you will not come to know. He or she or the rest of the people wouldn't come to know that Naman reported this, right? And if mostly, this question also, one of the first responses is because Naman, I do not report, I do not feel comfortable in reporting because he or she is the boss. So whistleblower policy is a good, great tool in risk management. I agree with that. Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions?
This one is for Ted. With work from home being the new norm now, will we see organizational work monitoring tools installed on computers to mitigate risks?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a trend that we see. People in the new environment, whether it be any new trend, the company has to respond by putting tools in place. For that reason, actually, we have in beta trials a work from home tool, which actually is a combined VPN video meeting tool. So that's something that actually in one of these future seminars, it might be interesting to talk about as a sort of another layer of resilience for an organization.
I have one more question for you, if you allow me to. And in between, participants, you can type in, then Tarun will help us with that. Right, Ted?
Yeah.
A question comes to mind. If I see some interest in Kinja Rooms concept, as I said, today my takeaway is bold and beautiful. That's world's first blockchain-enabled content management system. So next, I have interest. Immediately, it has generated interest. But question in mind is it a standard package or is it a customized delivery that you would be able to do for my organization? If I am interested, how long does it take? How much does it take? Something like that.
Yeah, no, it's an option for sure, because blockchain, as you know, costs money. And so we actually every time we put a blockchain, there is a cost on the blockchain as well. So it's a nominal one, but if you have millions of documents, that actually does start to add up. But it's not for everyone. But we basically enable for the organization or not. So basically, or what you could do is you could have a sub-partition one part of the organization where everything in there is blockchain. But we don't blockchain the document. It's basically just a chain of custody on it.
Right. Okay. So a little more extension of this. I'm still saying, assume I do not know blockchain. I'm not looking up to that feature, but I'm looking. Can you put them on mute, please? Apologies to others. Right. Thank you very much. So even if I'm looking at standard features of Kinja Room, that still is a question. Is it a standard delivery or it could be a customized delivery? No. How long does it take to get it implemented? How much does it take to get it implemented?
Yeah. Okay. So it's not a standard delivery. Delivery time can be done within days, but more realistically a week.
All right. Okay.
And
that's good.
Yeah, it's very easy to enable. And and how much it costs, it really depends on it, but there is a cost per transaction.
Right, understood. Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't be able to provide me that answer, but immediately perhaps you will say, Daman, I need some more details from you. What is your requirement?
Well, we need to know the configuration of the company wanting to do it.
Yes. And is it hardware, software dependent also? What hardware, software is at the back end?
No, it's completely hardware independent. It's basically through the cloud that we're doing.
Okay.
Blockchain. Yeah.
Okay. So I just need to say yes, pay, and you start doing it for me. So I start using it, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm willing to pay, and we're going to put it on.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Do we have any more questions?
No, we'll get back to them on emails. Can everyone switch on the cameras, please?
Yes, please. At this point in time, we'll request everyone to switch on the cameras. We'll take a photograph. I hope you don't have an objection. And then we'll share this photograph with the whole world. You become the celebrities. We'll publish this through our LinkedIn pages. Quick, please. We still have some spaces. Some cameras are still not on. And we have 3 screens. The third screen is still blank, completely black. Second screen is still black. First screen, we still have some cameras to be on. And I'm taking picture if you would like to smile to the best of your capabilities. This is done. And as Tarun said, if you still have any questions, either for Ted or for me, I'll take one more. More cameras have come up. Thank you very much. Any questions for us? Please feel free to write. You had my email ID in front of you, right? You can write to info@continuityandresilience.com, or you can write to Ted at kinja.com. Am I right?
Ted@kinja.com. Yes.
Great. Any questions? Anytime, please feel free to write to us or to Tarun or Chanchal. Both are live, my colleagues here. Some of you know them, right? So 3-4 channels or IDs available to you to ask any questions. Thank you very much. And we'll be back with you once again soon. There's a lot that we have planned around knowledge sharing in this month and the coming month on different platforms on different topics. So keep looking at your mailbox also. You'll be receiving mail from us soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye for now. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.